This Normal, brought to you by the Center for Positive Sexuality and Exquisite Restraints. Ooh, I screwed her up. Oh, I'm so sorry, Simone. Exquisite Restraint Corsets. But she's not here, so she can't hit me or anything. She can hit me later.
Yay.
And I'm your host, Emily, and my usual co-host, Simone, is MIA. She's actually in Louisiana, so I know where she is. So we have Christina filling in for Simone. Christina has been our production assistant for the last couple of months.
Yeah, sitting over there.
So yeah, she's been sitting behind the camera and making sure that I have the articles that I need and that I read her notes and all that kind of stuff. And you've been doing a great job.
Yeah, I do signs.
Yeah. Yeah, and she throws out questions, and she's been helping us get guests and book things and stuff. She's been very helpful. It's been nice. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a lot going on in the news and sexuality topics. We've got some Republican candidates who feel very strongly about using sex and sexuality as running platforms, which, not surprising, because it's a cool, hot, sexy topic to talk about how you're going to try to govern sex.
Right.
Which,
tell people what to do with their genitals.
right, which really doesn't work very well
No.
in reality to tell people what to do with their genitals.
No.
And I find it a little rude. It's a little rude.
Rude.
It's a little rude to tell me what to do with my genitals. It's none of your business what I do with my genitals. Thank you very much. But we've got, there's been a big controversy about birth control pills and various other birth control methods being available through
Vending machines.
being available through insurance and employers. Do employers have the right to tell their employees that they don't want to cover that because they don't believe in birth control?
I know my friend's insurance will cover an abortion, but not birth control.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
A little bit late.
Yeah.
Not prevention. Right. Yeah. It's so weird. It's very strange.
I don't know.
Most insurance doesn't cover birth control. And so I've seen the recent argument coming up as to, well, does it cover Viagra? Because that's usually not even medically necessary most of the time.
Well, that's maybe why you should stick to like masturbating and toys. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So there have been two things sort of floating around that are arguments against one another. One sort of in retaliation of the other. Because there's the mandatory ultrasound bill that's going around in a couple of states. I think it started in Virginia, right?
I know that for this week, that on the 14th, it was, I guess, passed in Virginia. And it was started as an internal ultrasound, but it was rejected because it was considered too painful and invasive. So they vamped it to an external. But that's still considered kind of rude because, as Christa said, you should have a choice as to whether you want to continue to be touched or not, regardless of whether it's an abortion or not. But people who are for or against are kind of using this as an abortion issue and not really body issue,
Right. Well, you had the dumb luck to get pregnant, and now that you want an abortion to deal with that pregnancy, you now no longer get a say in who touches your body and who happens to it. I think is sort of the extreme, succinct discussion. I have grand problems in people deciding that a woman just should have to deal with the consequences if she gets knocked up. Because isn't part of dealing with the consequences the choice to get an abortion? That's a way to deal with the consequences,
physical and mental. Yes.
Yeah, and there are other ways that this could be handled, I think. So you were saying that one of the reasons why this might be an okay thing, or at least that women might want to get the ultrasound before having the abortion, is because of the possibility of an ectopic pregnancy.
That's what it says in the article.
Okay.
So people that are pro are saying it's a life-saving ultrasound test that is given before abortion-inducing drug and an abortion procedure.
Okay. Because the possibility is if it's an ectopic pregnancy,
they will die.
Then the abortifacients could kill somebody. What I don't know, because I haven't seen the article and I certainly haven't seen the way the bill is written, is I don't know how prevalent ectopic pregnancies are at all. I know that they can be very deadly if not handled in any way, shape, or form. But I don't know how prevalent they are. So are they prevalent enough to
do this?
To do this, to make this?
I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't know about that.
But the ones that are anti are saying, or anti the mandatory ultrasound are saying that that it's like rape or that it's like an assault on the woman's body. So.
Right, and that it's felt to be medically unnecessary.
Right. I'm really surprised though with the cost that's going to be attached to this. Like, nobody's bitching about that.
Right.
So.
Right. We're not worried about the cost attached to that, but we don't want to cover birth control.
Right. Like I told you, I went to
get
a test for HPV, and it's like, if I'm positive for my pap smear, what was it? If I have a normal pap smear, I have to pay for the HPV test, but if I have an abnormal one, then I don't have to pay for it.
Right.
So it's a gambling pap smear.
Right. And it's sort of like, you pass the smog or it's free.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I feel
it's like the smog check.
It's like a smog check. If you don't pass the smog check, then you don't have to pay for it, and we'll help you get it fixed. But if you pass, then you have to pay the money for it.
Well, I just think mentally
it's
it
very
sucks.
strange.
It's like I have a normal pap smear, and I'm like, okay, cool. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I am fucked. I need this test. So like the mental anxiety behind it like doesn't end. So. I don't think it's like very done in like the person's best interest, like their psychological best interest, like this stuff.
Right. And it seems clear from a lot of this that women aren't actually being consulted any of this. That would be nifty. That women actually get consulted on issues that affect their bodies. I saw one thing go up on Twitter or Facebook or something like that somebody was saying, as the discussion about whether or not birth control should be covered by insurance, and saying that clearly heterosexual men are also affected by whether or not women have access to birth control and whether or not women have access to health care.
Yes.
Men will get affected by that.
Yes.
Heterosexual men will get
child support. Yeah.
There's child support, there's, drama.
There's women not putting out.
There's all sorts of things. And so a radical woman suggested that on I don't remember what the date was, but on some date that all heterosexual women stop having sex with men for that date. For that time period.
I did see that article.
In order to show, look, you want us to have access to birth control, you want us to have access to this stuff, and I kind of went, yeah, I don't know that that's really the way to go. Krista's dying over there.
I think it's hot though.
We really have to get the guest on.
Yeah,
I saw the article, but I don't think my brain could process. Like, what? No, you're not gonna stop. I'm gonna move to the next article.
Yeah, let's make it a fight.
I'm probably not gonna do that, but I understand. Great.
Yeah, is that all we got? That's right. All we got.
Is that we get
we withhold the pussy? I mean, how about like I'll do what I fucking want and make you like it? How about that?
Yeah. No, I agree. No, you don't have to be fine. I totally agree. I hate that ends up being the only thing that women can do is, well, let's just hold back sex.
Yeah, what about women who are not interested in sex with heterosexual men? Don't they have rights too? They have nothing to withhold. So their rights are meaningless.
Well, because they don't really exist anyway, so.
That's a whole other issue.
That's a whole other issue, isn't it? Politically, they don't exist. Which is true, which is horrible, and is a whole other issue. And yeah, it's... Or what about those women, and I am lucky to be in that group, who have supportive heterosexual men, who are fully behind the idea of women having birth control and having these rights and having rights to their own bodies. I have no interest in withholding sex from that person, because he's not the problem. Somebody much further up on the food chain who clearly ain't getting any is having the problem. Just my opinion. So it seems that the antithesis to that, the fight back to that, is Ohio State Senator Nina Turner is trying to put in a bill forcing men to meet with sex therapists before they can have Viagra prescribed to them. Which is interesting. I don't see it happening, but I applaud her creativity. I find
for pointing out the obvious.
Her pointing out the obvious, I think that this is wonderful.
Well,
Also, I don't know that I
is-
believe in it. I just find it very amusing.
Where is the guy who knocked up that chick who now has to look at her fetus? Why doesn't he have to look at the fetus?
Well,
he did it.
That was
It's
another
his
thing.
fetus.
That was another thing.
You know, why isn't he
you
in
know?
the room being forced? Look, here's its little happy smile. Do you really
Probably
want to
just
Or
kill
bring
it?
her
being
on.
counseled about it.
Yeah, why
Probably
doesn't
just
he
bring
have to
her
be
on.
subject to that?
It's okay.
She's already off.
I think that's great.
I'm sorry, I got that. What can I say?
No, you're good.
That's why we invited you.
It is. But yeah, this it says if passed, the bill will require that men visit a sex therapist, ensure they're in a proper cardiac health, and have a sex partner sign a notarized affidavit confirming the man is indeed experiencing impotency before receiving such a prescription.
I think that's brilliant.
Which is brilliant.
That's fucking
It's
brilliant.
hilarious.
That's
I don't
fucked
see it
up.
happening.
It's fucked up.
It's genius.
Why can't you just speak for yourself? It's not working.
Well, you know,
That's
if
the
women
point,
are allowed
yeah.
to speak for themselves and say, get your politics out of my vagina, then men could say, hey, you know what, it's not working as well as I would like it to, give me some little pills. Although we know from other discussions we've had that many men who clinically, medically do not need Viagra get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be like 90% of the people that are buying it don't.
Many men who actually have Viagra and use it don't actually medically require it. And that Viagra and other similar products only help if you have a physically related issue with your erectile dysfunction. If it's psychological, the little pills ain't gonna help.
Or one of the many other physical issues that is not
That has nothing to do
with circulation.
With circulation.
Because the blood circulation is the only thing that
Yeah.
Viagra affects.
If you have advanced diabetes, if you have other things that are keeping that part of your body, the penis, from working correctly, Viagra, Cialis, these other things aren't going to help. They don't help. It's nothing. You should just be taking sugar pills.
So if you're having group sex, should you take everybody with you?
I think so. I think it is responsibility of the group to be responsible for whatever happens. Everybody should be in the room. Make it a party.
Anybody in the group who feels you need it should come with you.
Yes.
Anybody who doesn't feel you need it shouldn't come. Then you can't get it.
Right. Well, you have to have the whole form, and everybody
Yeah,
has to
somebody
sign
else
off.
saying, his dick's not working. Can we fix it? Because if it's working, you don't need it, and nobody will show up.
This is true. That'd be great.
Unless you hire them.
That's too funny. All right. So that we don't make our co-producer go too crazy over there. We will bring in our guest, and then we can continue talking on all of these wonderful topics, because I know she has her own opinion. So we're going to bring in Christa Faust.
Da 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 dum. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-dum. Ba-da-da-da-dum. Ba-da-ba-da-dum.
Hi, kids.
Hi, how are you?
It's not too bad.
I haven't seen you in a while.
It has been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a long time.
I think it's maybe been 3 or 4 hairstyles ago.
Years ago. What does that mean? Like, what, a year?
I sort of see that as like, my personal rings on the tree. Was I blonde?
I think so.
Was
I
it
think you were
purple?
I remember the streak, though.
The
streak.
I do remember
remember
the
the streak.
streak.
Yeah.
But I also remember the blonde, so I don't know. I can't keep track of
Keep
things.
them guessing. That's
I
a
can't
tip
keep track.
for your kids at home.
Yeah.
You can go.
I can't keep track of stuff.
You know?
But the last time we interviewed you was when Money Shot came out.
Wow, yeah, that was a while
So
ago.
that was a while ago.
Criminy, that was 2008.
Really?
Was
Yeah. So that's the last time we interviewed you.
Well,
I made him. Hopefully, I think I've seen you since then.
yeah, but I think that was the last time I was on the show.
But I think that was the last time you were on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, there has been another Angel Dare book in between this most recent book and Money Shot. So a second Angel Dare book.
So clearly your publicist failed to call us.
You know, I'm gonna have to slap around a little bit.
A little bit. Should have brought her.
You know, make it a team effort.
Make it a team effort.
But you all have to sign. You know, we all have to go in
we'll all
together.
sign.
For
We'll
sex
go
therapist
together.
and sign
Saying it's okay.
Ugh.
We'll do that.
But
Luckily,
yeah, so that's through to the same publisher, Hard Case
Great.
Crime, and it's the same character, Angel Dare. You know, only it's her further adventures. And you know, I never intended to continue that story. You know, I mean, Money Shot was a one-off. You know, I mean, and you read that story and you think, like, where can you go from here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, at the end, it's like she's facing jail. That's it. It's over. You know, but you know, somehow
The
that's just
public
not,
demanded.
the public demanded it. That's right. You know, and so I did, and that book is set in the world of professional cage fighting, MMA
Right. That was
fighting.
chokehold.
Yeah, that's
Right.
chokehold. And it's interesting because one of the things that kind of got me into that, you know, into that world, wondering about that world, was getting a sort of obsession with chronic traumatic encephalopathy, you know, also known as punch drunk syndrome, you know, where guys are having Alzheimer's-like symptoms due to repeated concussions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I started to become really fascinated in this idea that, you know, here you have this industry that takes young men and sort of uses them up for the purpose of entertainment and then sort of leaves them, you know, with nothing. You know, they make millions of dollars for a year and then they have nothing, you know, and they have no prospects, you know, and so I couldn't help but see a parallel to the porn industry.
Absolutely.
Which is the heart of Money Shot. You know, Angel Dare, that character, she's a former porn star. And so, you know, I look at these young women that are, what they're going through, you know, as they're starting to move out of the business and they don't really have as much as they used to and where they're at. And I talk to guys who were fighters who were very much in the same position. And the parallels are amazing. You know, it's really, really fascinating. And I'll tell you, the thing that I found the most common, and I mean, it's so common, it's almost a cliche, daddy issues.
Oh.
Daddy issues. Man, daddy doesn't love his little girl, she becomes a porn star. Daddy doesn't love his little boy, he becomes a fighter. You know, and what do they both really want? They both just want daddy to love them. To say, hey, good job, sport. You know, I love you, honey.
Because the ultimate in masculine and feminine professions.
Right.
Yes. That the female porn star is considered in a way to be the ultimate
She's
woman.
Venus, yeah.
The
She is.
ultimate
Symbol
expression of
of
femininity.
Yeah.
You know, whereas
Right.
the ultimate fighter, they even use that name
Right.
to market it. You know, is the ultimate expression of masculinity. You know, although the women, the women fighters right now are just amazing what they're doing. You know, they're having a lot of really interesting stuff happening in the female leagues there for MMA. So that's interesting as well.